The real estate market is most definitely shifting. But what exactly does that mean, and how does it impact you if you've been considering buying or selling a home? Hi, this is Andrew with the S2 real estate team here in Frisco, Texas. This is something that we've been talking about for quite a while. The real estate market's changing. Everyone knew it had to, right? But to what degree it was going to change, it seems like everyone's got an opinion on. Are we in a bubble? Is it going to crash? What's the recession going to do? There's flat out a lot of different opinions out there and a lot of different pieces of advice being given. And the most honest answer I can give you is nobody knows exactly. I mean, even the experts that study the data and that's all they do each and every day are struggling to know exactly what's going to happen. And I'm certainly not going to pretend to be one of those experts and say, here's exactly how this is going to play out, because the truth is we just don't know for sure. There's too many uncertainties. But here's what we do know. The prices have continued to go up. Mortgage rates have jumped up. People are uneasy and they get a feeling that something's got to give. And that's very, very true. We also know from past times of rising interest rate and rising price environments, the impact it's had on the market. And we draw on that. So each and every week when I prepare these videos for you, my goal is not to convince you one way or the other of exactly what is or isn't going to happen, but it's to share the latest data, the latest numbers, and the latest insights that I receive, coupled with my 20 years experience in this business, so that you have the information you need for you and your family to make the best decision for you. Because ultimately, that is what's the most important. So first and foremost, are we in a bubble? Are we going to crash? I don't think the answer to either one of those is yes. And again, that's just my opinion. But based on all the information that I have and all the data that I'm looking at, I just don't see it. You may not believe me, and that's fine. You can go back through other videos I've recorded where I'm going to go into much more detail on why. That's my belief at this point in time. And if it changes, I'll let you know. If the data changes to the point that causes me to draw a different conclusion, I will absolutely let you know that. But right now, it's not showing that. Now, I also can't make a blanket statement that covers the entire country. We are definitely going to see regional changes, and how one market reacts is going to be different from another. So it's very important right now that you stay up to date on your local market. I'm going to make that easy for you. In the description directly below, I've got a link to a market report. And from that market report, you can put any city or zip code in the country in there and see the latest data specific to the area of most interest to you. And that data is updated weekly. All right, so with regards to the market changing and what does that mean for buyers and sellers? Well, first and foremost, for buyers, it actually means that things are going to get a little bit easier for you. Inventory has jumped. The biggest thing that we've been facing for the last couple of years is a lack of inventory. Nationally, inventory jumped 8% in the last week. That's a big number. That's the biggest jump that we've seen. And we're now actually in positive ground with regards to year-over-year inventory change. So as the inventory builds, that means that you're going to have more choices. There's going to be less bidding wars. There's going to be less multiple offers. But again, it's going to vary depending on where in the country you are. So in Southern California, where we operate, we are seeing less bidding wars, substantially less. We aren't seeing runaway pricing for the most part. A bunch of bids on a given home pushing the prices way up. We're not seeing that quite as much. Here in Frisco, Texas, we are still seeing that. We're seeing that quite often on almost every single home. But saying that, even here, it's starting to cool. So from a buyer's perspective, the biggest thing has been mortgage rates. They've jumped substantially, right? So, I mean, they started the year at 3.1%. As of yesterday, they were at 5.25%. That's a big change, and even though when you look back over the past 5 decades, Historically, that's still a phenomenal rate. For many of the people buying a home right now, you don't care what it was historically because for much of the past decade, it's been in the fours. So this feels really, really expensive. I get that. I can understand that completely. But I just want to point out to you that it's not unprecedented. It's not like we're in uncharted territory here, because we're not by any means. But, has it caused some buyers to pull back? Absolutely. The sentiments right now has the vast majority of buyers that are surveyed saying now is not a good time to buy a home. Understand that completely. But is that enough to have a dramatic cause the housing market to have a dramatic downturn? No, it's not. Because for the most part, homes aren't necessarily bought and sold based on the mortgage rate. Homes are bought and sold based on life events. You are being transferred because of your job. You are selling your larger house and downsizing to a smaller one. You are having a baby. You got married. Something along those lines that's causing you to need to make a move. That's what drives it in the most part. So again, this becomes a very personal decision. Is it the right time to buy? Only you can answer that. What I do know is that for people that don't buy, the alternative is to rent, right? Which is fine. Nothing wrong with doing that. But rents are going up as well, right? The rents have risen astronomically um, for what you get. They've jumped up quite a bit. Now, saying that though, is a lot of people that are sitting on the fence and they're hedging a bet. Well, prices are going to come down 10, 20%. Again, I don't think that's the case. There's nothing in the data that indicates that is going to happen. But if that's your belief, great. Just keep an eye on it. Follow the market reports that I described just a little bit earlier. The other thing I want to point out is that even in a rising rate environment, nearly 30% of all transactions right now, according to bankrate.com, are all cash. So they're cash transactions at play. And obviously, no matter what the mortgage rate does, cash transactions are not going to be impacted in any way, shape, or form. So bottom line, from a buyer's perspective, only you can make the decision that's best for you and your family on whether now is the right time to buy. If you do make the decision to buy, long term, the pace of appreciation on homes is not going to be as high. Don't expect to suddenly have an increase of 10, 15, 20% equity in the course of a year. That is coming down. That is moderating. But at the same point in time, you are going to see that there's more to choose from. You're going to have choice. You're not going to be under the gun to make a decision and be using appraisal waivers as much and having to write offers way over list price. Okay, and from sellers, the other question becomes: is now a good time to sell? For many sellers, they're going to look at that and think, well, I've missed the market, right? Prices have peaked, they're going down, I've missed it. And again, depending on where you are, that's not true. Prices are definitely going to flatten. We are seeing that by the number of price reductions. Because there's been so few price reductions in the market, the increase in the number of price reductions that we're starting to see is not indicative of anything unusual, and it's not a sign that the market is turning and going the other way. It's not that at all. It's what sellers are doing is many of the sellers have been pricing their homes based upon where they think prices were going, based upon where they thought they were going to be able to get offers in at. And they're finding that that's just not the case now. So right now here in Frisco, about 21% of homes are now receiving a price reduction. Nationally, it's right around 20%. But historically, the norm is right around a third. So we're still well below the norm for the number of price reductions that are taking place, but it is up substantially. Here in Frisco at the beginning of the year, we were only at like 5% price reductions. Now we're at 21. So it feels as though things have changed. And so from a seller's perspective, it can seem as though you may have missed it, that we're past it. Just understand, prices are still up there, and homes that are priced competitively are still selling relatively quickly. As a matter of fact, across the country, 24% of homes that are listed are still selling within the first week. Okay, so keep an eye on your local market as it's going to change again from market to market. but the market's still strong. Just as a seller, don't expect 100 showings the first weekend and 30 offers. You're not going to see that now. Your home is going to sit on the market longer. And the homes that have a ton of deferred maintenance, the homes that need work, but are priced at a premium, are not going to sell. You're going to be forced into a price reduction. So bottom line, market is still strong. I mean, it's definitely slowing, it's definitely cooling, but the overall fundamentals are still very, very strong. It's actually kind of returning to normal, which I'm looking forward to. I think it's good for everyone involved. Now, I do want to let you know, for anyone that's been considering selling, it still can be a challenge in many markets. Well, if I put my house up for sale and sell, where am I going to go? I don't want to end up homeless. If I buy a new home, there still could be 4, 5, 6 months out. And I know this is common in many markets. One of the lender partners that we have here in Frisco, we do have the buy now, sell later program, which allows you to buy a home non-contingent, buy a new home. And then once you've got that locked in, you can sell your home after. It's still locked up in one loan, just one mortgage. And that way it allows you to time things effectively so that you don't end up with that gap where you've got to suddenly put everything into storage or go and find a rental or anything like that. So again, subscribe to this channel, hit the little bell notification. I'd appreciate that. And it'll keep you up to date whenever I post a new video with the latest information. And as always, if you have any questions, don't hesitate to reach out. You can give us a call at 469-296-5230 or send an email to contact@s2realestateteam.com.